This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. You're going to mix a little local and a little national here. Yesterday, State Representative Jeanne Ives, a Republican candidate for governor, challenging Bruce Rauner in the primary for the nomination, was on with our friend and colleague Mike Gallagher on his nationally syndicated program,
which can be heard right after us every morning from 9 to 11. Dan, programming note.
That is correct. And Mike Gallagher concluded their exchange saying this.
Join us to meet Jeanne Ives, who is absolutely necessary for the future of the great state of Illinois, and I'm excited for your candidacy, and I want to be able to support you any way I can.
And appreciate that because Mike Gallagher is coming. He's in town, I should say, today to headline a fundraiser for Jeanne Ives out at the Westin in Lombard, and he's broadcasting from our other friend's establishment, Tom Sedeka, the great Tom Sedeka at Precision Payroll, broadcasting from there this morning. And appreciate that Mike Gallagher and I are simpatico on the governor's race here and the national heft weighing in on Illinois. It's nice to have somebody from out of state actually care about Illinois. We're pleased to be joined by our friend Mike Gallagher. Now, Mike, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Well, I hate to start out the conversation by correcting you, but Dan, I'm not headlining. You're the headliner.
Oh, stop you.
I'm accompanying you. I'm your sidekick. Listen, when I heard
I'm parking cars.
Amy, when I heard Dan Proft was good with Jeanne Ives, I said that's all I need to know. I'm in.
All right.
And, of course, I've been researching her and learning about her incredible career, her background in the military, and her work in the State House. And it's time. I mean, it's time that Illinois sort of replicates what we've done nationally, and so I'm just ecstatic. Even though my trip here was fraught with peril, I sat next to a guy last night on the plane who was hacking up a lung, and I thought, it'll be a miracle if I don't have double pneumonia by Friday. You remember the boy in the bubble? Remember that?
John Travolta.
Yeah, sure.
That's how we ought to travel. We ought to be able to put those big bubbles, those giant bubbles over our head, maybe a couple of little holes to breathe out of. And I was leaning out in the aisle. I thought, only Gallagher. This stuff only happens to me. This guy's, I'm trying to put my hand up. I'm trying to put the iPad over my face. Trying to lean.
Couldn't you just
terrible feeling?
Couldn't you just borrow Hannity's plane? I mean, why are you flying commercial? A guy like you, come on.
I'm a commercial flying kind of guy. Listen, we got to do that private plane thing for that cross-country tour we did right before the election, and I got a taste of it, and it was so fun, and I thought, no wonder these guys become so obnoxious when they get rich, because this is the way to travel. I mean, it just no waiting. You get right on the tarmac, it wheels up whenever you want. So, no, I'm good old-fashioned United 1K, and happy to be flying commercial. What are you going to do?
Well, as and the national level, looking in on Illinois, I know you see our high property taxes and how manufacturing is fleeing the state. But what do you think personally of Governor Bruce Rauner and how he's leaning a bit left, so to speak?
Well, if I can borrow a phrase that Dan uses, and I hear you guys a lot say this, and believe me, I listen to you every morning on the way in. You're the best show prep, as I've told you before, a guy could have. So congratulations on your stellar work in 2017. I can't wait to hear Dan and Amy throughout 2018 and beyond. But, Dan has said this a lot. There's nothing about Illinois is broken. Illinois isn't broken. It's fixed just the way the Democrats want it to be. And, of course, nationally, we always look at the crime rate in Chicago, and that has been sort of put at the doorstep of President Obama. But as you guys know better than anybody, property taxes, the sanctity of life. I mean, for this governor to basically betray the pro-life voice in Illinois with his abortion vote, that's something that's kind of hard to swallow. To talk to Jeanne Ives, you get the sense that this is somebody who understands that a lot of people in Illinois are fed up and want to change in direction. and she's the one to do it. And like I said, guys, it's a little bit like replicating what happened nationally, a different direction, a different way of doing things. Hillary would have been a continuation of the failed Democrat policies of Barack Obama. Now we need a governor in Illinois who's going to correct the failed policies of this guy.
Speaking of failed policies of Democrats from Chicago, what do you think about getting another one in the White House named Oprah?
You know, it was so fascinating to see Trump's uncharacteristically gracious response this week. You know, I like her. You know, I don't think she's going to run, but I like her very much, and we're friends. I mean, you know, that's the dirty little secret. All these guys have palled around for years and years. And one of the tough things about the anti-Trump sentiment that Hollywood exhibits is a whole bunch of those guys have spent plenty of time at Mar-a-Lago and at Trump Tower and have wined and dined with Donald Trump and his family. And so, you know, I'm going to be blunt. I've said it. I warned people the other day. If she runs, that's going to be a problem. That she's the perfect candidate for our times. Yeah. She, you know, all people hear when they see Oprah is, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car. Remember when voters were literally saying, I'm voting for Barack Obama because he's going to fill up my gas tank and pay my mortgage. Remember that famous audio clip from an Obama voter? So, you
Obama
know,
phones.
She's touchy-feely, and she's, you know,
she's likable.
What's that?
She's likable, and she is the American dream, but I don't know where she stands. You know, I don't know what her policies are, and I don't think that she knows what they are. Unless, I mean, I think everyone's just assuming that they're left-leaning, but you never know.
But does it matter? I mean, really, at this stage of the game, I don't know that people would think it matters. There's such a hatred still for President Trump, despite even yesterday. Now, the tide turned a little bit after his unprecedented open-door, cameras-rolling meeting on immigration. The hardliners are furious. The dreaded A word is looming on the horizon, amnesty for illegals and dreamers. But listen, and this is in many ways the fear of Trump opposition, that he was going to capitulate and be too touchy-feely with Democrats on the issue of immigration. But yet, here was a president that, unlike the Michael Wolff book, seemed fully in command of his faculties, holding a meeting, talking in complete sentences, and recognized everybody in the room.
What's your perspective on the continued marginalization of Steve Bannon? He's doing an amazing disappearing act, deposed from Breitbart yesterday, as well as Sirius XM. The separation seems to me from Bannon by Trump, the timing couldn't have worked out better for Trump.
The stunning fall of somebody as formerly powerful and as important as Steve Bannon has been quite a thing to watch. I mean, guys, you got to be like me. You wake up every morning, you think, okay, I got 97 things we can dive into today, and all of them are significant and in many ways preposterous. I mean, some of this stuff is just crazy, as you know. We hope to talk to Ben Shapiro today on the show, because Ben left Breitbart because of Steve Bannon, and basically said way back when the things they're saying about Steve Bannon now, that, you know, narcissistic, takes too much credit for everything. And frankly, he was the guy that let Michael Wolff into the hen house, which is a strange decision. Yeah. Everybody keeps wondering, how in the world do you have a writer like Michael Wolff plant himself on a couch in the West Wing and write a book? You thought it was going to be a love letter? You thought it was going to be positive? Come on. And so that was apparently all of Steve Bannon's doing. When Bannon lost the support of Rebecca Mercer, a huge Republican donor, that's the end for him, I guess. And boy, it's kind of stunning, losing the radio show, everything. Dan, I don't know where he goes from here. Do you?
I don't. I mean, I'm glad he's got those Seinfeld royalties still coming in, so he, will continue to enjoy a decent lifestyle.
But he had flirted with.
I think they've kicked him out of the Breitbart embassy, as they call it, that townhouse on Capitol Hill. I think he loses the keys to that, so he's going to have to schlep it like the rest of us and find a place to live and pay for it.
I think he's going to have a second act. I mean, there was talk of him running for president in 2020. Don't think that's going to happen, but he seems like the type of person who's not just going to, stay at home with construction paper and crayons.
No, he won't. He won't fade off into the sunset, but he really has been damaged badly by this. It just feels like there's been, you can put up with a lot of mistakes, but when it's betrayal, when it's like you have thrown the man under the bus like this and his family, when you go after Trump's family, and that's something that is verboten in Trump world, as we know. The president's not going to. So when you don't have the president now, the president is capable of turning on a dime too. I mean, it's possible that they'll kiss and make up. I don't know on this one. It's pretty personal. It's pretty raw and pretty ugly. I hope to get Ben Shapiro's perspective on it later today.
All right. Well, betrayal brings it back full circle back to Rauner, because Rauner betrayed the Republican Party in this state the same way that Steve Bannon arguably betrayed President Trump. He is our friend Mike Gallagher, of course, nationally syndicated talk show host on our airwaves. Starting at 9 o'clock, right after our show. You mentioned he's going to have Ben Shapiro on to talk Breitbart and Bannon's departure. And we'll see you at lunch at the Westin and Lombard for the Jeanne Ives event. Mike, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Can't wait to see you then, guys, and keep up the great work. Keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan